Buying a camera right now is complicated to say the least. We're at the end of our transition period. DSLRs are moving to mirrorless cameras. This makes the world of cameras more vast than it ever has been in the past. So, in 2022, we have all the older DSLR mounts, like the Canon EF mount and Nikon F mount. We have the older mirrorless mounts, such as Micro Four Thirds and Sony E mount. And then we have the new mirrorless mounts, like Canon RF mount, Nikon Z mount, and the L mount Alliance.
You thought I wouldn't say?
Mount Alliance.
And that's just the most popular ones. I'm looking at you, Canon M mount. If you're not new to the camera world, all this information doesn't faze you. But if you're just starting out, it's a lot of information to take in, and it makes choosing a camera to start with way harder. The saying is, marry the lenses and date the body. But that's hard when the new mirrorless lenses are more expensive than ever, and the older DSLR lenses will be outdated when you upgrade to a new body and will require an adapter. So basically what I'm getting at is the Sony A6000 is the best camera for a beginner right now. Yes, the Sony A6000 is 8 years old, but it still really holds up. You get 24 megapixels, 11 frames per second continuous shooting, fast autofocus, and it comes in only at $350 used. You really can't beat that for the money. I've been using this fairly beat up A6000 for a couple weeks now, and it's been great. I've shot it around New York City shooting street photography, cityscapes, and landscapes, and the camera's really held up. I've never found that it's hindered me or my photography, which is really great, especially considering the price. There's no reason to look at these photos and know that it's from a lower end camera or an older camera. The images still match that of my A7 IV today. So I'm out shooting now after I just finished filming the talking head portion of the video, and there's a few things I wanted to touch on that I didn't already. The first is the size of the camera. It's small. I mean, I can hold it in one hand, no problem. That being said, because it's so small, the grip is a little shallow. I feel like I don't have really enough room for my fingers. It's a little tight, and I imagine putting a bigger lens on it, it'd be even tighter in there. I also find my pinky hangs off, so because it's so light, it's not a big deal, but it's a little uncomfortable compared to a bigger camera that you can fit your whole hand on really nice and sturdy. The other thing I want to talk about is the EVF. It's small. It's kind of useless if you ask me. You can use it, and if it's really bright, it is helpful, but I find myself using the articulated screen on the back a lot more, and it's pretty usable, although it's not super bright in a direct sunlight. It's kind of hard to see. I realized I didn't mention battery life. I'm getting around 300 shots, not shooting continuously, taking a shot here, taking a shot there, shutting off the camera in between. It's not great, but the thing is, these batteries are really small, and I think they're fairly cheap now. So, you can get a couple, keep them in your bag, and you don't have to worry about it, they'll last plenty. So you've seen the images, you've heard the specs, and you know my thoughts. I like the camera, but I still haven't really broken down why I think this is the best camera for beginners in 2022, and that all comes down to the lens mount, the E mount. It's hard to marry your lenses and date your body when you're a beginner. Beginner cameras often use different lens mount systems than the more expensive cameras you'll be upgrading to in the future. And you tend to upgrade pretty fast when you're starting because you outgrow your camera quickly. This is what makes the A6000 so great. The A6000 uses the same Sony E mount lens system as the more expensive Sony full-frame professional cameras. This means you can spend $350 on the A6000 and use the rest of your budget on a more expensive E mount full-frame lens, and when you're ready to upgrade, that full-frame lens will go with you to your next camera. For example, I use my 35mm full-frame 1.8 lens on my A7 IV as well as my A6000, and it's gotten great results on both cameras. When you're ready to choose your first camera, spend $350 on the Sony A6000 and use the rest of your budget on a good lens, and you'll be set for a while. That's why I recommend the A6000 to any beginner photographer. If you want to learn more about the video features of the A6000, let me know in the comments below.